In yesterday's video, we covered what the Rams need to do to find advantages on offense and defense to win the Super Bowl. If you want to check that out, whether you're a Rams or a Bengals fan, I think it could be very helpful to see both sides. But why football is such a remarkable sport is there are counter strategies and hidden tactics and tricks that opposing coaches and players are trying on each other. So today, we are going to be looking at what the Bengals need to do if they want to win the Super Bowl, where they can find their advantages, and what they should emphasize. There is a lot of film to break down, so let's get into it. And very quickly, I know I haven't had a face cam in like a month and a half. I moved from Cali to Michigan to Miami. Finally have an official setup. I was literally recording videos on like hotel floors. It was insane. But if you're a new subscriber, this is what I look like. Hello. But there's a ton of film breakdown, so let's get into it. The first thing I want to touch on, but not talk too long, because I was very long-winded in my last video on how I said the Bengals could beat the Chiefs, and I said that the Chiefs were going to be overly aggressive because I just saw the Titans get 9 sacks on Joe Burrow. So what the Bengals need to do is run draw plays and screens to counterattack the over-aggressive defensive line, creating natural running lanes, getting the defensive line too far upfield, and slipping a screen right behind them. And lo and behold, what worked so well against the Chiefs, they had P-Ryan go for 41 yards on that screen. They had Joe Mixon get out loose for a couple of screens. So I really think the Rams are going to be able to do the same thing to them. They're going to be overly aggressive. They're going to try and get after Joe Burrow. And so I didn't want to spend too much time on it because I went at nauseum in my last video against the Chiefs. So the first thing we're going to talk about that Joe Burrow does such a great job at is moving on the pocket and always keeping his eyes downfield. These are all going to be from their playoff games. This one against the Raiders, and it doesn't even have to be much. It doesn't have to be that special, but he sees the inside of his offensive line. I mean, just look at their right guard. We talked about this a ton in the last matchup. He is the biggest offensive liability, so they're going to have to double, triple team Aaron Donald because he just gets pushed back seemingly every time he gets a one-on-one matchup. But Joe Burrow doesn't mind, just takes 1, 2, find your best receiver in Jamar Chase. So just even if it's 1 or 2 steps just to get yourself a clean pocket, keep your eyes down the field, and then he can do things like this. Raiders fans, close your eyes because you all remember this play all too well. But look at how beautiful this is. I mean, when he steps up in the pocket, he does not take his eyes off of downfield. Even when he has pressure right in his face, he just steps up, eyes keep downfield, becoming a passer, just rolls out to your right. And did you guys hear anything? I sure didn't, but he throws a touchdown. It counts. This is what he's been so good at all season, and he's going to have to be even better in this Rams game. And we covered this play in my last video. This is the Chiefs. They're going to run a stunt over here, but they're going to end up in the same gap. And the biggest plays in this Bengals-Chiefs game came through Joe Burrow's legs, whether he was extending the play to throw it or just to take off to run it. But you can see how sound you have to be with your fits and getting every single hole covered, because if you overcommit or have 2 people in the same hole, Joe Burrow's going to be able to take off with his legs. He's not the fastest guy in the world, but he can get the job done. And the biggest plays from this game happened with Joe Burrow's legs. So again, I'm not going to go in length, but I really do think they should utilize draws and screen passes just to counteract the Rams' super aggressive defensive line. Troy Reader's going to be out there flying sideline to sideline, but if you can catch him in a blitz or getting in a back pedal and you can get offensive linemen in front to pick him up blocking, that's going to be huge. And using Joe Burrow's legs to extend plays, even if it's just 1 to 2 steps out of the pocket. Now, what the Bengals can absolutely not do is what the 49ers did on 3rd down. This is Cooper Kupp. This guy had the most receptions, most touchdowns, most receiving yards, and most yards after the catch. Matthew Stafford likes Cooper Kupp as a receiver, if you didn't know this, especially on 3rd down. They have the same exact mind, and the Niners continuously left him in man-on-man coverage. That is just they should have put 6 points on the board before they even snapped this ball. So all these plays are going to show you are from their last game against the Niners, and they're all going to be on 3rd down. So again, leaving Cooper Kupp on man-to-man coverage, Stafford's just going to look to him and find him. And what you have to do is take away Stafford's first read. And on 3rd down, it's going to be Cooper Kupp every single time. And even if the Rams convert on a 3rd down, you're going to take that over anything else, because if you leave Cooper Kupp on man-to-man coverage, it's automatically going to be picked up anyway. So Cooper Kupp is going to be his first read on every single 3rd down if he sees man-to-man coverage. So get him off his first read. Maybe you can get a sack. Maybe you can make him throw late over over the middle, get a tipped pass, do anything. But when you have the yak leader, they just have such the same mind, you just couldn't make it any easier on Matthew Stafford. So again, this is the biggest play of the game. One-on-one coverage, you have a safety help over the top, but it's over the top. It's like 3rd and 2. Cooper Kupp's just going to win on this inside move right here. Doesn't get any easier for this. They could rep this out in practice. Matthew Stafford could probably be blindfolded and still make this throw to Cooper Kupp. But again, you cannot leave him one-on-one. This is just going to be an easy win. And you really don't see Cooper Kupp show that much emotion out there on the football field, which is okay. But picking up 25 yards, all but to seal the game, you can see his reaction. You can see how huge this is. And you know he's probably been screaming, why do they keep leaving me on one-on-one coverage on 3rd down? It's just way too easy for us. And this is how they allowed them to come back into the games. But now we're going to talk about how Stafford and the Rams could actually give the game to the Bengals. Stafford has actually done a really good job protecting the ball this playoffs, but he wasn't at all at the end of the regular season. Just to put it in perspective, he only has 1 interception this postseason, but he had 8 in the last 4 games of the regular season. Not only that, he was throwing a lot of pick sixes, and we're going to show you some plays on when he was throwing interceptions later in the season. And if you even think back to the last game where the 49ers could have absolutely sealed it, but they dropped one of the most wide open easy interceptions that they ever could have had. And this does have a lot to do with Stafford's inaccuracy with his deep balls, at least the inconsistency with his accuracy. And they can happen in some pretty big moments too. This is week 17 or 18 against the Niners in overtime to just completely lose the game. And he's going to overthrow. This is going to be his first of 2 interceptions to Chuck Clark. And Odell's going to get a perfectly executed punch to the gooch right there. And I believe on this play, Matthew Stafford, he's going to launch it deep to Deshaun Jackson, just wildly underthrow him. It's going to get picked off. And so Stafford does have this huge arm, and he has allowed McVay to completely open the offense. The all 53 1/3 yard is McVay's sandbox. Stafford can throw it anywhere, but he has been pretty inconsistent with his deep ball, at least making some proper decisions. But now we're going to look at some opportunities where he's had, and he just reads it wrong with his eyes. Stafford is a gunslinger. We give him that, so no play is ever dead. But right now, watch Kevin Byard. He's going to come down all the way down to the flats, and this is going to be back-to-back interceptions. They're going to get a pick on this play when Stafford tries to avoid a safety and just makes an absolutely wild throw. But Kevin Byard comes all the way down. He's not going to get the interception, but this is going to set up the very next play. So the Titans score on the next play, the Rams get the kickoff, and then that sets up this play. Again, it could look like they're in a 2-deep shell, but right before the ball snap, Kevin Byard starts sneaking down, and Matthew Stafford, trying to be a veteran, is going to look away his defender with his eyes. He's going to look left, but his pre-snap read was coming all the way back to Robert Woods, and Kevin Byard is going to jump it, and this time it's going to be a pick 6. But we can see it a lot better from the end zone angle, where he's really, so he knows where it's going to be open. He saw where the corner was aligned. He knows this is going to be a wide open pass, so he's going to be looking off to the left, come back to the right, not really even looking for Kevin Byard because he thinks he's going to be deep over the top, and he's just going to predetermine the throw. But that is going to be huge because it is going to be 6 the other way. And I really think this is something that Jesse Bates can do if they can be creative in disguising their coverages. And again, this is the other side of it where Stafford was looking off his defender. This is where he's just absolutely staring him down. He's going to stare off Tyler Higbee the entire time. He's just going to look at him. Doesn't look at a single other person. This is Chuck Clark again. He has Odell one-on-one, but he sees Stafford's eyes and he's going to come right after him. And then this is going to be another pick 6 late in the season. So again, these are just mistakes that Stafford has been making towards the end of the year. That does not seem like a very veteran quarterback. He has been very good this postseason, but it almost seems like a matter of time. Again, another thing for the defensive line, you're not going to get Stafford running out of the pocket or scrambling a whole ton. So if you're not there, get your hands up, because you never know when the perfect interception is going to come, when you're going to get a hand on the ball. I know they're trained to do this, and maybe they're trained not to jump if they're coming right after the quarterback, but Matthew Stafford really isn't the one that's going to pump fake you and go around you and take off for 30 yards. He had 43 yards rushing the entire regular season. So he's really not going to be a threat. So as much as you can, get your arms up, get a hand on the ball, and cause an interception. So we covered the use of draws and screenplays. We covered Joe Burrow's ability to escape the pocket. We need to double cover Cooper Kupp, or at least take away that option for Matthew Stafford on 3rd down. And we need to capitalize on Matthew Stafford's tendencies to throw interceptions like they were doing late in the season, especially on 3rd down when he's going to predetermine a read or just eye down a receiver. We have to be able to jump on that, disguise our coverages. But some things that I didn't mention is they have an absolute weapon on their team in Evan McPherson. He is that that guy, going 12 for 12 on field goals this postseason, which is a record, while Rams kicker Matt Gay has already missed 2 this postseason, especially the infamous 47-yarder that he was short on. That can lose you a game, and I don't think this gets talked about enough, but it's going to come down to a last-second field goal like almost 95% of this games this postseason have. Evan McPherson on your team is advantage Bengals. And the Bengals actually have been very good at causing turnovers. They have 7 caused turnovers in this postseason, which is the lead. They only turned the ball over twice as well. So having a +5 turnover differential is great, and that is why they're in the position they're in. They had 4 sacks and 2 interceptions against the Chiefs in the second half, proving that they can come back from almost any deficit with their explosive offense and their defense's ability to create turnover after turnover. And the last thing we need to talk about before we do our recap is the thumbnail of the video. Joe Burrow, Joe Shiesty, Joe Burr is that guy. He has this confidence and this swagger, and I'm a huge Matthew Stafford guy. I watched all 76 of his wins in Detroit, 38 of them being game-winning drives. He is so good at coming back. He is as clutch as it gets, but Joe Burrow, literally in year 2, already has this confidence and swagger that Matthew Stafford has never had. Even though I have all the confidence in the world if Matthew Stafford has the ball at the end of the game, I have equal amount of that for Joe Burrow in his second year already. It is very Tom Brady-esque. It is very impressive, and I have no idea how they're doing it or how the Bengals got to this point, but they have a team of leaders, they have a team of winners, and Joe Burrow is the head of that, and that team runs through them. And so if you watch my videos on what the Rams are going to try and do to the Bengals, they're going to try and exploit the Bengals' interior offensive line. They're going to try and find spacing and imbalances on offense to create advantages in the run and the passing game and really space the Bengals out and not play into their advantages. But this is what I think the Bengals need to do. They need a counterattack with the Rams' aggressiveness coming after Joe Burrow, trying to exploit it. Joe Burrow's going to have to use his legs. They're going to have to find creative ways to put Jamar Chase in one-on-one situations. There is a lot to do, and it's going to be scheme after scheme. And then even at halftime, it might all change. They're going to make all these adjustments. It's going to be so much fun to watch. I cannot wait for this year's Super Bowl. The matchup is turning out to be so interesting to me. I really have no idea who's going to win. I do have a prediction, but I'm going to post that way closer to the Super Bowl when it's going to come around there. But let me know what you guys think. If you like this video, go ahead and make sure to give it a like. Comment down below what you think the Bengals need to do and who you think is going to win this game. And make sure to subscribe if you enjoy daily sports content. I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you so much for checking out the channel. And as always, I will see y'all tomorrow. Peace!